What's going on, everybody? Trevor here. Welcome back to the Bourbon Wrench. Today we are going to be revisiting, quite possibly, the Kings of Value bourbon, Kirkland Bourbon. How the heck are they in 2024? Now, I've done this video way back when, one of my earlier videos. It did really well, and I kind of put these bottles away because they don't really fit anywhere on the shelf. But I dug them out of the depths and was like, hey, how the heck are those things? You know, it's been a while. Sometimes you just gotta go back, drink something you haven't had in a while, see how they are. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try all of them, see how they are, what I think of them, if they're worth the price, if you should go pick them up. So let's start off with the small batch bourbon. This is Kirkland Signature. This is the Costco brand of bourbon. Very transparent on the label that this is made by Barton 1792. So if you're familiar with the 1792 bottles, the bottled and bond, small batch, foolproof, Barton is making this stuff for them. The small batch, I believe, cost me like $20. You get 1 liter of it and it's 92 proof. So this is the standard base level offering of the Kirkland bourbon. So let's get right into it. Wet the whistle a little bit before we get into these big dogs. Now, it's been a long time since I have tried these. Like I said, I just kind of made a review and kind of forget about them. But dang, I do not remember this being as sweet and cherry forward, just very fruity. Little bit of the oakiness, little bit of the barreliness that you get, but very red fruit forward, very approachable, you know, for being the base standard offering. You know, I kind of assume those are your gateway pours, your mixers, your whatever, maybe not aimed at people who are sipping bourbon neat, but definitely approachable. Like, not mad at that at all. Especially for the price. This is like 20 bucks and a liter of it. You can't be angry at that. So let's give it a taste. Now let's get the negatives out of the way first, because come on, 92 proof bourbon, cheap, a lot of it. What kind of expectations was I having going into it? The finish is pretty lacking. There's really not much going on. It kind of, once it goes over your tongue, back of your tongue, gone. Goes down really light. There is definitely some graininess, that I would assume is just some younger whiskey. You're getting the grain flavor note. It's not an aged whiskey. Did not have enough time to pick up a lot of the barrel, okay? You're getting some grainy youthfulness, which is normal on a budget pour. But those are the negatives. To be honest, the fruitiness is still there, along with the graininess, but there is that red fruit, very sweet, kind of cherry, strawberry note. Little bit of oaky, like just a tinge, you know what I'm saying? It's not gross. Okay, like, is that a bonus for saying something? It's not gross. I think what you gotta do with this bottle, okay, is to compare it to other bottles around $20, to be honest. Like, look at stuff like Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. Look at Old Grandad Bottled and Bond. Look at Evan Williams 1783. Look at Jack Daniels. What are you doing with those pours? That's what you need to ask yourself. If I'm looking to mix my whiskey and Coke, or a whiskey sour, or an old fashioned, I really don't think this is doing anything less than those other guys, to be honest with you. I feel like would make a good old fashioned. It's got that cherry sweetness in there. It's got 92 proof of whiskey booze in it. I mean, come on. If you're someone who drinks, you know, Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, neat, and all that, if you're looking for a budget, neat pour, I would probably say this isn't that, but it can still do it, okay? So I would say if you're in the realm of strictly a mixer, then $20 for a liter is kind of, you know, there's no reason to go further. If 92 proof, if you look at that and still say, whoa, that's high, because I know there's people out there, they're used to drinking 80 proof whiskey. You know, there's no reason to jump up to 100 proof for your cocktail. Just throw the 92 proof stuff in it. 20 bucks, it's a liter. If I was gonna grade this, I would probably put this anywhere between low to mid 80s, strictly for that value sense of if you need something for a party, if you need something for mixing and you don't care about people drinking it all, and or you need a lot of it because you're gonna drink a lot of old fashions one week, you know, I ain't judging you. How about this 85, just for that value aspect alone. Let's move on to the next one. Don't need to talk all day about these. I gotta drink all of them. This is the Kirkland Bottled in Bond. This is the 100 proof version, and it's bottled in bond. Quick rundown, if you don't know, Trev, I'm new. What does bottled in bond mean? This bottled in bond bourbon is the product of one distilling season from one distillery, aged in a federally bonded warehouse for at least 4 years, and bottled at 100 proof. What you need to know is that used to mean a lot more than it does today. The whole federal regulated warehouse. Things were sketchy back in the day. That's why they created the Bottled in Bond Act. Nowadays, it's kind of more of a tradition, I feel like, but what it usually tells you is that it's coming from one distiller, one distilling season. They're not blending stuff from this year and this year and this year. It's all coming from this time frame and 100 proof. So let's get into it. Also, they're all from Barton, so I'm not gonna reiterate that. So Barton, more Barton stuff, 100 proof, bottled in bond. This one, I believe, $24, $25, something like that, a few dollars more. That's the trend you'll notice in this, is they're all around the same price. Again, 1 freaking liter. But you can definitely see the evolution from the small batch to the bottled in bond. There's definitely more going on. Definitely a thicker, more put together nose. You're getting more of the caramel notes. You're getting more of the barrel notes. You can tell, you know, aged at least 4 years, it's kind of saying, well, how old is this? This is probably 2. You know, this is probably the youngest whiskey they can make to call it Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which I believe is 2 years to 4 years. And you can see even 2 years makes a difference, man. So it's only 8 proof points more, so going from 92 to 100, but it just smells like there's so much more going on. It's still sweet, but not as red fruity. I think you're getting more of the caramel vanilla sweetness than the fruity stuff. So let's taste it. Yeah, that's a pleasant friggin' pour. The finish still, it's better than the small batch. Like when it goes to the back of your tongue, down, it's pretty boring. I mean, come on. Again, this is budget. This is cheap. This is 24 bucks for a liter. I'm not expecting world-class whiskey here. So that's normal for a budget pour. The up front, it delivers some good oaky, caramely notes. I definitely like this more than the small batch. It kind of makes me want to bring the rating down. Like, I feel like I gave the small batch too much credit for the value aspect of it. You know, I would think this one's more in line with like an 87. This is higher, definitely higher points. I would almost argue this is the one you start at if you're a bourbon sipper, right? If you're like, man, I have bourbon, Trev. I sip bourbon, Trev. This isn't new to me, Trev. Which one do I get? Start at this one, okay? If that's what you're looking for, you want a sipping bourbon, I would start here. I would probably reserve the small batch kind of strictly for, you know, a budget cocktail well bourbon, okay? Just because you get a lot of it for cheap. This one is starting to introduce more notes that bourbon drinkers will enjoy, and you can still use this in a cocktail, though. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like this is more versatile, in my opinion, because you can. I would be cool sipping this neat, and I would also be cool with making a whiskey sour with this, and I would also be cool that you and all my other friends who came over made whiskey sours with it, okay? Like, make this bottle disappear however you want to, and I'm totally cool with it. Yeah, I would give this one an 87. You know, is it the best thing I've ever had? Absolutely not. But come on, you gotta compare it to other bottles in that price range. You know, 20, 24, 25 bucks for a liter. Let's extrapolate that down, math. You're looking at a sub $20 bottle for a 7.5. So you gotta start comparing it to the Evan Williams bottled in bonds, all those bottles. And I think this bottled in bond versus some of those other cheap ones, I think it fits right in. Let's just make a little Brompton cocktail here. I really don't even know what a Brompton cocktail is. I just know that song by Avenged Sevenfold. All right, let's move on to the Kirkland single barrel, and if memory serves, easily my favorite pour. So let's just get back into it. I friggin' loved this bottle at one point in time. Back when I friggin' loved this bottle. I was thoroughly impressed. So it'll be very interesting to see how things are. I would encourage you. I didn't even rewatch my old video, so it'd be interesting to see what I said then versus what I say now. If it's the same exact video, I don't even know. So this one is single barrel Master Distiller's limited release. Gotta throw the buzzwords on there. Non-chill filtered. Something I didn't notice. I think this might be the only one that is non-chill filtered, which means they didn't skim off all the freaking flavor. Chill filtration is where they chill the whiskey and all of the stuff that they want to get rid of kind of floats to the top and they skim it off, okay? Flavor. Fatty acid esters. Leave that crap in the bourbon. It's flavor, baby. So when you see things that say non-chill filtered, expect flavor time, baby. This one-of-a-kind, unblended bourbon comes from a single barrel, hand-selected by our master distiller for its superior distinctive flavor characteristics. 120 proof. This bottle comes in, I think, $30. I've seen it between 30 and 40, even at the high end of 40 bucks. You're getting 120 proof, 60% alcohol, 1 liter of Barton bourbon, non-chill filtered, okay? You just don't see this often, so it's just total value right there. It's just, you don't see stuff like that. Right off the bat, the color is definitely darker. I don't know if the camera picks it up that well. It's definitely darker. Again, I don't know how old this is. I would imagine, again, probably at least 4. If this one was 4, this is probably at least 4, if not more. So let's get into this sucker. This smells great. Like, impressively great. Just like I remembered. I remembered that I was pleasantly surprised and kind of like, what? You get this at that price? You're getting tons of that sweetness is back. I'm getting more of the cherry note again. So I feel like the cherry skipped this one a little bit. The cherry's back. Cherry and oak and wood and char. Even almost a little honey note. Like, it's just a pleasant nose, man. A lot of that sweetness definitely carries through. The cherry really shines through on this one. So if you like the sweeter cherry bourbons, or if you don't even know what that tastes like, pick this up and give it a try. Now, I will say this, I feel like is definitely targeted more towards your bourbon sipper, okay? I think picking these 3 points, you know, a small batch bottle and bond, and then a high proof single barrel, is definitely hitting every type of consumer. So if you find yourself being, I need a daily sipper, a budget pour that I don't mind, you know, whatever, just, you don't even have to think about it, this is in the wheelhouse. It's honestly full of flavor for being as cheap as it is. I'm trying to think of it as a normal consumer who might not know really a lot about bourbon. You see this and you see 120 proof and it's sub 40 bucks. I mean, come on guys, if you're curious, if you're trying to learn bourbon, if you're trying to work your way up, if you're trying to get into bourbon, I get it. It's hard to justify spending $60, $70, $80, $100 on a bottle of bourbon that's, you know, maybe you won't know. Maybe you won't be able to pick the nuances out, and you don't know what to look for, and you don't know what you should be tasting, and then you just spent $100 and you're like, oh my God, I get it. I feel like this is a perfect segue. It's kind of like a learning route. Like, this whole thing is a learning route, and I think they knocked it out of the park. So final score on this one, I'm telling you guys, easily. I mean, again, don't take this with a grain of salt, you know. I just drank 3 of these suckers. This is easily A minus. I would give it maybe a 91, 92. And you might be like, Trev, some of the great bourbons you give are like 94, 95. In the grand scheme of things, they're all beverages, and you consume them, and they're just bourbon. Every single one of them. I think for what this is, the price, the proof, the flavor, it's just great value. And at the end of the day, a lot of us just like to drink, and what else could you ask for? So in short, let's give a quick rundown of all 3 of them. The too long didn't read. What do you want to know? Tell me everything I need to know in like 1 minute, Trev, go. Kirkland small batch bourbon, the 92 proof version, comes in around $20. Perfect for cocktails, perfect for handing out at parties, taking shots, letting your friends make cocktails. It's kind of just the party workhorse, making cocktails. Don't really care what you're doing with it. The Kirkland Bottled and Bond, definitely a step in a better direction. Little more towards bourbon sippers if you're gonna drink it neat, but totally usable for cocktails, whatever you want to do, but maybe a little more versatile for you bourbon sippers. $25. And finally, the Kirkland single barrel non-chill filtered, 120 proof, definitely aimed more towards the true bourbon connoisseur. I sip bourbon. And I think it's a perfect segue for people wanting to learn what barrel proof whiskey is, higher proof bourbon. This is it. At the end of the day, Kirkland bourbons, you're getting a liter of it, and they're all sub $30. It's kind of a no-brainer. Definitely worth picking up. At least one of them, or all of them. There we have it. That's the Bourbon Wrench's opinion of this, and if you don't like it, then you suck. And if you did like it, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new here. Go watch my old video, and maybe I said something completely different over there. That'll be funny. Go watch this one and then go watch that one and see how they're different. And until next time, I'm Trev Wilson. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm a little schlambered. Like, I haven't even ate dinner, and I kind of had to reshoot this. My battery on the camera died. Oh, we got this cocktail. We got the Brompton cocktail over here of all 3 of them. Yeah, I would probably not do this. If you buy all 3 of them, don't do this. It kind of just ruins all of them. Not that good. Cheers, everyone. See you in the next video.